Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. It is another 11 o'clock stream. It's the 12th of December, and we are starting to recover from our big night out with Bitcoin. Bitcoin got a terrible hangover yesterday, but I think the Alka-Seltzer is starting to help. We're going to take a look at a few things today. It's going to be a bit more positive today because we held the line. I'm going to go through the charts with Bitcoin in a minute, but we held the line, and we're going to take a look at the Warren dip. Let's call it the Warren dip, which is what led to this small downside action. And then we're going to take a look at her actual performance in putting forward motions and things like that. We're going to go through all of that anyway. Then we're going to look at AVAX. Why is AVAX up so much? Where is the price action going to go? I bought AVAX a long time ago, and I'm surprised. I think I'm up 250%. It's done really well. So we're going to go through that. We're going to take a look at what Google Bard thinks XRP is going to get to in the next bull run. That'll be nice to see. We're going to have a little bit of a look at Injective. I'm going to go and take you to the website so you can have a look at it. Then we'll look at the price action. We're going to go over the Volcano bonds, which are coming out Q1 next year. Then what China wants to do with its 1.4 billion of its citizens, and they're creating a China club. That's the nicest way for me to put it. Then we're going to finish with the quiz. As always, we are going to finish with the quiz. A few shout outs today. Hello to Kishan. As always, you are here supporting the channel. Greatly appreciated. Hidden Agendas, as always, you are here supporting the channel. And over on, I can't mention names, but a big hello to is it Ybaser or Ebaser, who has joined over there. And then the usual crowd, we have Fran, as far as I can see, Tony. Who else is in here that I recognize today? I can't. There's so many messages. I cannot actually. Usman is here. OG. Anyway, there's a lot of people in chat. Welcome to the stream. Remember, if you're new here, we stream every day. We've streamed every day this week. Certainly, we streamed on Sunday as well. So we've done a 7-day week last week, and we are 2 days into this week. Or are we 3 days into this week? I don't know. And we are streaming again. So let's move on, have a look at the charts, and let's get into some news. We don't have too much time for me to sit here prattling on about other things. Market cap is back up 0.5% to 1.58 trillion. The volume is up just under 80 billion, which is decent. And Bitcoin dominance is going to go back over 52%. Remember, it was at 52.5%. That correction shunted us below 52%. But where are we going to top out on Bitcoin dominance? 55 maybe? 60 some people are calling for. I'm not sure about that. I'd say 55 to 57, 56, around that target for Bitcoin dominance. If you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, it is a percentage of the overall market. So if the total crypto market is 1.58 trillion, Bitcoin is 818 billion. So it is 51, almost 52% of the total crypto market. Ethereum is lagging behind 17%. Over the summer, that was up at 20%, but that was before Bitcoin went on its mammoth run. If we have a look down here, you can see Bitcoin has recovered back to 41.8. Ethereum is still at 22.30, 22.25. And if we look at the 24-hour gainers and losers, Injective, which we're looking at today, is up. Celestia is up back over $12. Helium is up. AVAX is up, VeChain, Beam, Audi. There's quite a few decent gainers in the last 24 hours. Losers, not so many. Terra Luna is down 5 and a bit %. Not too much curve. There isn't really a lot of losers, to be honest. This is a recovery day. We might spend the rest of the week bobbing around between maybe 41.5, 43, and a half, something like that. I don't think we're going to push back onto 45 in the next couple of days unless something magical happens. Now, there is the Fed news coming out this week. We're probably going to cover that tomorrow, because tomorrow and Thursday is when the Fed meet, and then Powell comes out, I think, normally on the Thursday. I'm not too sure. So we'll have a look at that. So let's go over and have a look at what caused this $2,000 dip. Well, it was this young lady here. Senator Warren was trying to introduce a bill to fight money laundering. Let's make this legible, shall we? Why do they put great big stupid nonsensical things on the screen? In a move to strengthen the fight against illicit finance, Elizabeth Warren and 5 colleagues are supporting the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This legislation, though met with skepticism from the crypto industry, aims to enhance regulations for cryptocurrency use by including miners, validators and wallet providers under the Bank Secrecy Act. There's huge holes in this. It's never going to pass. We're going to go on to that in a minute. Adding weight to the cause are Senators Warnock, Butler and Van Hollen, all members of the Banking Committee. Their involvement suggests a potentially influential role for the committee in shaping legislation related to cryptocurrencies. As we all know, the banks want their own way. And how do the banks want their own way? They know that you cannot have KYC in DeFi. They know that KYC is going to be very difficult to enforce on DeFi platforms, non-custodial wallets, all of that kind of thing. But if they push it through, which they're not going to be able to, but if they do push it through, what would happen is that if you can't comply, then it makes it illegal. That's the issue that we have at the minute. So the market was a little bit shocked by this. Here is a copy of the bill. As you can see, it's still written in the font of the 1900s, because that's, I think, where Elizabeth Warren was born. And as we saw, we expected Bitcoin to be pushing up towards $48,000, $50,000 this week. This has been a temporary delay in that action, and it's pulled us down a little bit. But it's not going to pass as it stands. Elizabeth Warren has a 0% win rate when it comes to bringing in acts. John Deaton from the XRP case, he's weighed in on this. Jamie Dimon has weighed in on this. He's even suggested that the classifying Bitcoin as a security would cause a problem. Now, that sounds more of a problem for the SEC than it does for JP Morgan and BlackRock and people like that. So I think this is a warning from the banking industry that we want the pie. We don't want you to get rid of the pie because we want it. So don't bring in legislation that's going to kill anything. Do what you need to do, but remember, we're the people in charge. So back off Bitcoin, leave Bitcoin alone. Then when the Ethereum ETFs start to come out, you leave Ethereum alone. Then XRP, then Cardano. So the banks want the pie, the banks want the business, the banks want the profits. They don't want to kill crypto anymore. Their opportunity to kill crypto or get rid of crypto was potentially 5 or 6 years ago. It's too big now. It's going to be at a $2 trillion market cap by the beginning of next year. It's become a sizable asset of its own, and it's difficult to try and argue that it's just used for money laundering. Clearly it isn't. But on the other side of that, we do need governments to have the power to control cryptocurrencies within their borders. The UK is bringing out their Cryptocurrency Act. They're bringing out the Financial Services Commission's bringing out its own controls. So governments do need to have some control, but that's to create a level playing field, not to kill something because it happens to be a threat to the banking system. Even Snowden has weighed in on this, saying that Senator Warren has ties to banks. We know she has ties to banks. We know what she's up to. It's clear as day what she's trying to do. And this is the situation that we're in. But I'm going to try and stick to the plot today, because I have overrun a lot in the last few days. So we're going to go back. Again, I'm like a stuck record, but it's important that you see what I draw, because I don't draw this for the good of my health. So if I hide this to show you what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of that as well and bring in the RSI. Okay, so a lot of people were panicking yesterday, and I got a lot of panicky messages. Are we going to zero? Are we done for? Is 40,000 finished? Those kind of things. I've drawn this channel probably around here, probably around the beginning of December. And it's, again, we had one of these channels in November. We've now got one in December. And as you can see, we've moved up. Now, what happened was Warren's news came out and we came smashing right down into here. Actually, I won't delete that because that was my bullish divergence. So if you are in our Telegram group, you will have known that I posted up a message yesterday saying that the RSI had dropped to 14. So down here on one of the charts, maybe it was the 1 hour or the 30-minute chart, the RSI was at 14, incredibly low. I was expecting a bounce back, and we did. So what did we do, or what did we learn? We learned that we've stayed within this channel. We hit the channel here and we've bounced up. And where did we bounce up to? We bounced up to this level of liquidity here, which is about 41.8. Now, as you might have noticed, we're struggling to get back above 42,000. Now, 42,000 leaves this area of liquidity, because if we leave it, we're going to come up to here, which is 43,400, which again ties in quite nicely with the kind of the bottom of this range we were in here. So if we can break 42,000 pretty much dead on, so if I bring this line up here to show you, okay, previous resistance here, we broke 42,000, we came up. I don't know whether people call it a Bart Simpson. I don't know. I'm not that technical. Brogan's our guru here. But we're sitting at this 42,000 range, and we have this huge gap here. So if we break 42,000, we're going to get sucked straight up to 43,300. But what's important about this is that when we were here, when we were sitting here, we were saying that our range at the time was between, let's go back to here. Our range was 40,200, say, to 45,600. That was our range then. Then we broke down, and our range, because it's moving up, was 40,500, say, up to, is that 45,600, something like that, 45,800. But we held the range. We held the range we were in, and we came up. And look what happens when we're down here and we think we're breaking to the moon. We've touched this, we've come down, we've had the bad news, we've hit the bottom of our range, and we've bounced up. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to come back down. I'm not saying that is not possible. Because remember, if we come down, then 37,000, there's a huge gap here to 37,000. So we could very well do this and break down to 37,000. But that doesn't mean it's not the end of the world. We'll lose 40,000 as support. We do have a lot of very small levels along the way. We've got 39.6, 38.7. So we're not going to come straight down in a wick. It's not going to do this. But we could do this. It's not against the laws of probability, but it all depends on the next bit of news that comes out. Remember, this price action took us down $2,000, and this was the American government trying to bring in a crypto law that would have been very restrictive. Now, what could happen from now moving forward? What could happen that's worse than that? Think about that. What kind of news that could come out that would be worse than that? Because it's not going to pass. She has a record of trying to introduce, I don't know what it is, 120 or 140 bills, and she's failed every single time. Not one single bill has been passed that she has introduced. So, is it a power play by the banks to bring the price of Bitcoin down for them to be able to buy more? Possibly. Are they thinking, right, Bitcoin's going up too much. We can't get too much of the Bitcoin. So what we'll do is we'll get Elizabeth Warren to try and bring an act out or a bill that's not going to pass, but it will correct the price down a bit. It'll cool Bitcoin off. Is that what they're trying to do? Possibly. Because all it will do is delay the upward price action. So we could see this. It gets overheated. More bad news comes down. We come down up. We come back up. More bad news. So are they trying to just cool off the price of Bitcoin for them to fill their bags? Remember, we were saying all along that they are buying Bitcoin. They are buying Bitcoin. And what transpires, JP Morgan has been buying Bitcoin all year through a trust. Okay? So, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a conjecture that potentially the banks want to cool off the price of Bitcoin because a $41,000 Bitcoin is a lot cheaper than a $50,000 Bitcoin when you're buying hundreds of millions of Bitcoin at a time, or hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin at a time. However, from our point of view, all we care about is the price action is 43, maybe 43.4 to 43.9, but we have to be careful we don't fall all the way down to 38,000 because this is a big gap here. This is a big gap. This is a tiny gap. Looks like I'm drawing a snowman. I'm not. So they're the two things to be concerned about. These two volume areas here are the two things I'm concerned about. I don't want to lose 40,000, but I do think 43,400 is a level that if we can get to and hold it, then we're back on track. Potentially 46,000 is the top of this range now. So we could very easily do this and sit here by the end of the week, or we could do this. I don't see any bad news to bring us down to 38,000. I'm not worried, and I don't think you should be worried either. Anyway, I haven't been checking chat, and I'm going to drop my box now. So if you are watching on an exchange, we give away crypto pretty much every single stream. So I'm going to drop a box now for you to claim. So if you just bear with me for about 30 seconds while I drop these boxes, we will get on with the news. One day, when we are a lot bigger and more successful than we are now, we will probably have an assistant to do all of these things. But for now, you have to put up with me and my failing eyesight trying to type everything in to drop the box. Salik Khan, you are rich, send me money. Well, that's not how it works, Salik, and I don't know why you think I'm rich. Just because I'm talking about crypto does not mean I'm rich. But thanks for the comment. What is going on? Oh, they've changed the boxes. That's nice. All right, 1 minute. Let me just drop the boxes. One second. Right, nearly ready. There we go. Boxes dropped. Okay. Everybody should now have a red envelope or a red box to collect, and now we will get on. So as we can say, Bitcoin held the line. Let's not worry too much. If you're new to crypto, these things happen. These things happen. We are not going to go up in a straight line. We've been saying since before this dip, we were saying on, well, beginning of last week to start with, and beginning of this week, we've had 7 or 8 green candle weeks. At some point, we need a correction, which is a red week, which could very well be this week. We could finish the week at 42, 43,000. It's not a problem, but it would give us a red week, and that might be a nice reset we want to go up in steps. We want the price of Bitcoin to go up like this, okay? Because each of these steps is a level of support for Bitcoin, okay? Each one of these. If we do this, if we do this, guess what happens when we have a correction? We've got nothing to support us, so we come straight back down again. So we want the steps. We want the steps to sit on. When we get tired, we want the steps to sit on. And as you can see, we found plenty of resistance here on this channel. We're now sitting at decent support here. We've got decent support here. We've got decent support at 37,000, don't forget. 37,000 isn't the end of the world, but we don't want to go up in a straight line because we'll come back down in a straight line, and that's what you need to be careful about. Right then, now, I don't cover AVAX a lot, Avalanche a lot, and I do hold a bag of AVAX. And I said the same thing to Brogan about Solana on Saturday, or Sunday, sorry. I said, are we seeing the actual price of Solana now at $70, $80, $100? Is that the actual price of Solana? And was the price of Solana suppressed by the FTX fiasco? Because it came all the way down to $10, $12. Was that because of FTX? Now we're seeing $70, $80, $100, and everyone's thinking, well, can it go higher? Can it go higher? We've got to remember, Solana is now the #1 blockchain for ETFs. It's got more volume now than Ethereum. Avalanche, I was buying Avalanche thinking, why is nobody buying this coin? What's wrong with people? Why are they not seeing what I'm seeing? So I'm buying Avalanche all year, and now suddenly we're seeing these huge spikes. And as people are pointing out, it was undervalued before the 80% pump. But we're still undervalued as far as I can see with Avalanche. You could say the same thing about Link and XRP, especially XRP, undervalued projects. So AVAX has surged. It's got partnerships with everybody, not just JP Morgan and Citibank. It's got partners with everybody. And this 80% gain, we'll go through the charts in a minute. You have to zoom out. The same with Solana. You look at the Solana chart in the last 3 months, it looks like it's going to the moon. No, it's recovering. It's recovering from a traumatic experience, which was FTX and its connections to FTX. And between November last year and November this year, it took 12 months to recover to the price. And now we're seeing it go back to where it should probably be. Avalanche didn't do anything. It was like a cat on the floor. You could prod it with a stick, it didn't move. Now we're starting to see the action. Why? Because they've been building. They've been building. They are going to be a huge gaming blockchain, as well as being involved with tokenization of assets, as well as being involved with Google. They're making all the right moves, but they've done it so quietly that nobody's noticed. And now all the news is coming out, and everyone's like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to get involved. So daily transactions have gone from $200,000 to 4.5 million. That's massive. The value locked has nearly doubled. But don't read too much into value locked, because this is slightly misleading. If the price of the coin has gone up 50%, then the total value locked of the token will go up 50%. So what I mean by that is, if you had $10 million worth of Solana at $50, that would be $20 million at $100. So it's a little bit misleading when you look at total value locked, because it's based on the tokens and it's based on the price. If the price pumps, the total value locked pumps. So that's a little bit misleading. I don't like looking at TVL. I'd like to look at TVL based on the percentage of tokens staked. So for example, Ethereum, what percentage of Ethereum or Cardano is staked? That's more important to me than the value, because the value goes up and down with the price, as you'd expect. DeFi Llama, highly recommend looking at DeFi Llama. Great website. So Apollo Crypto Chief Investment Officer Henrik Anderson told Cointelegraph that wider market standards had formerly undervalued AVAX. A few weeks ago, Avalanche had more TVL than, for example, Solana, with a quarter of the market cap. TVL is still higher, but market cap is now half of Solana. We do believe we will enter a market in 2024 when some of the altcoins will perform better than Bitcoin. I mean, of course they are. You have to remember why altcoins perform better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an $800 billion market cap. If you take one of these meme coins at $20 million, $50 million, $100 million, it only takes maybe $10 or $20 million to move that meme coin or altcoin. It would take 20 billion to move Bitcoin. So of course they're going to perform better. Of course they are. It's stating the obvious. It's like saying the sun's going to go down tonight and it's going to come up in the morning. It's stating the obvious. The same way it's stating the obvious that we're going to have a surge in the Bitcoin price after the halving. They're just obvious facts. It's not insightful enough for these people to be quoted in articles, in my humble opinion. So James Butterfield wrote that while majors such as Bitcoin and Ethereum suffered steep price declines this week, Solana, Avalanche have seen inflows 3 and 2 million respectively, remaining firm favourites in the altcoin sector. I agree. I think AVAX is massively, massively underrated. I didn't like it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like it in December and November last year. It hadn't done enough to prove itself to me. Now it has. Now it has. Right, I'm just going to pause the stream for 1 second. I'm going to go and grab a coffee. I will be 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, I'm getting a dry throat. So if I don't drink something, I'm likely to conk out. So as we were with looking at the AVAX chart, what we can see here is a beautiful, let's go to the daily, there we go. We can see a beautiful set of price targets based solely on previous price action. So we've come up to $41. Why are we at $41? Because you can go back as far as you want. So this is May 2021, just before the previous bull run. And look where we are now. We are at the same price, $43, $41, $42. It's within that range. So then you can say, okay, well, where do we go next? Well, if you look, we have various levels of support up here. This sits at $59. Could we see AVAX at $59? It's a big move. It's probably another 30% up. I think eventually we can get there. But we're also looking at the fib levels. The fib levels are kind of in line with where we are. So 41.44 is this fib level. We're just underneath it. Then we're talking about a price, $59, which is just under the $61 fib level here. So the previous price action ties in very nicely with the existing fib levels. Now, do I think AVAX is going to go here tomorrow? Absolutely not. What is likely to happen is there could be, and I would expect, given this RSI here, I would expect a cooling off of AVAX. Maybe we come back down to, let me just bring this line up. Again, always look at previous price action. We could come back down to $30 potentially if we get rejected here. Come back down to $30 before trying to break through towards the end of the year. We're overbought on the daily, massively overbought on the daily. So that would indicate to me that we're overheated. We need to cool down a bit. We need to have a cool off. So potentially we could come down to somewhere near $30. If we don't, and we keep going up, we look at the previous price action, that was at $59. So for me, I would look to accumulate some AVAX at $30. If we don't get $30 and we do come crashing down, then around $23. $23 could be the other range. So we drag that line down to there. So again, look at the previous price action. Look where we were. Look where we found resistance along the way before breaking it. So potentially we could come down to $30 to $22. There's a lot of bullish news though, and because of that, I do think we should be looking up rather than down. All I would say is that if we do have something, I think it's going to be that. I don't think we can go straight up in a straight line. Look at what happened here. This is a perfect example. Look at what happened here. We came up, we got overheated, we had a cooling off period, and we shot up. If you see, this is the same thing here. So if we copy that, and I'm not saying we will, we could do something like that again in a nice pattern. My drawing is terrible, I do apologise. But AVAX for me, changed my mind on it, didn't like it at the end of last year. It's done an awful lot since then to change my mind. And that's why I am a little bit bullish on AVAX. And that's why I started to buy it. I wasn't a fan. They then started to make, towards the end of last year, they started to make some deals with people. And that's when I thought these guys could be going places. And it was criminally undervalued. And I didn't buy a massive, I've not bought hundreds of AVAX, but I've got a few because I see the benefit of it. Now, Google Bard, we've got a lot of these AI projects doing the rounds. And we've got Grok from X. We've obviously got ChatGPT. We've got ChainGPT. We've got loads of them nowadays. Google Bard has predicted the XRP price after the halving. Now, I'm going to let you into a little secret on this. I haven't read this article. I wanted it to be a surprise. So let's see if Google Bard can predict better than me, because my prediction is $3 to $5. Best case scenario, $7 to $9. But I think $3 to $5 is a good price, both for XRP and Cardano. But it can go higher because the ETF news and everything else happening could just push them on that little bit further. So for argument's sake, I'm going to say $5. Now, what does Google Bard predict? So Google's experimental AI project has weighed in on the potential price appreciation XRP might record on the back of the next Bitcoin halving. You don't need to go into this. Trading from Matrix Port asserted that Bitcoin could hit $125,000 after the halving. Dr. Heesboik, research lead at Uphold, predicted $200,000 price, citing institutional demand. Now, these aren't even the bull run prices. Now, my original price for Bitcoin in the next bull run was $106,000, $105,000. I've said that before. 1.6 times the previous all-time high. That's gone out the window because of ETFs. God knows where we're going to go. 300,000 maybe, 250,000, we don't know. So what does it think XRP is going to go to? According to Google Bard, predicting blah, 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 the chatbot presented some possible scenarios. Bard suggested XRP could see a more substantial uptick for every 100% increase in Bitcoin's value. The AI chatbot asserted that XRP would potentially hit $38.50. Is this for real? In a more bullish projection, it suggested $46.50. Absolute nonsense. So a 46, I can't even work that out in my head at the minute. That's a 40x. So a 40x would give XRP a $1.25 trillion market cap in the next bull run. I'm predicting a 330 billion. So it's 4 times. No, it's going to be even more, isn't it? It's ridiculous. We're never going to see a $46 XRP in this bull run. It stressed the surge in Bitcoin's price might trigger a broader cryptocurrency market boom. The ongoing legal tussle, we know about this. Bard also suggested that clarity in regulatory frameworks is crucial. Also stressed these predictions could fail to materialize, advocating for caution. Absolute nonsense. Do not for 1 minute believe that at this stage in the market we could see, is it a 40x or is it more? Is it a 60x? 70x? Sorry, it's a 75x. Do not expect a 70x in XRP. That is absolute nonsense. Again, I said this yesterday. Look at the market cap. Look at where Bitcoin is. Look at where Ethereum is. Is Ethereum going to hit $1 trillion? More than likely. Is Bitcoin going to hit potentially $3 or $4 trillion? Potentially, yes. Will XRP get anywhere near $500 billion? Because that's potentially a 15x. A 15x puts us at about $10. I think we're going to get to $5 or $6, and that's still a 10x from here. So if I'm conservative, Google Bard is absolutely off its rocker. Absolute no chance whatsoever we are going to see that. You can clip me because it's never going to happen. What a load of rubbish. Okay, so Injective. Now, I want to go through Injective very quickly because we're running out of time. Injective is a token that is supposed to be doing another airdrop. And we talk about airdrops a lot yesterday. We covered one yesterday. And airdrops are basically free money for you performing actions in advance. Injective is supposed to be looking at doing some form of airdrop. Again, it's very similar, I would say, in terms of the market that it's looking at. It's very similar in terms of like Chainlink. Obviously, XRP we just mentioned. Quant. Anything that's involved in finance is going to do exceptionally well. Gaming is going to do exceptionally well, and finance are going to do exceptionally well in the next bull run. It is clear as day that these are the two areas where we're going to see the biggest adoption. Remember, we want adoption and regulation. They're the two things we want. And adoption comes from everyday things that you do being on the blockchain. And that's the biggest one is, of course, finance. The second biggest is gaming. So Injective, for me, is something to go and look at. It is built for finance. I'm not going to go into too much depth. I just wanted to bring the website up and introduce you to Injective. It is a big token, by the way. It's not one of these small caps. It's not a $100 million micro cap. So it's currently sitting over $2 billion in terms of market cap. Price action has of course done exceedingly well. Circulating supply 83% is great. It's what we want to see. We want to see coins with the majority of tokens in circulation. So everything checks out for Injective. The price action for me though is a little bit, it's 10x, 12x this year already. And I'm not suggesting you buy this token today. I'm just showing you and introducing it to you because you will have heard about it elsewhere. Now, it's built to be interoperable. So has it actually got some of the things on here? Because it's connected to Cosmos, and Cosmos is connected to lots of other things. Lots of other blockchains connect through. So there's some names on here you're going to recognize. Pyth, of course, did the airdrop quite recently. Wormhole is on here. Cosmos Hub, some names I can't mention for obvious reasons. Ethereum, Kepler, Helix. So Ledger, it's got some real connections in here, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of Cosmos chain tokens are pumping, because of the interoperability. It all meshes together. If you ever use Cosmos, you ever used any of the, Terra Station, for example, wallet is connected to it. You can use the wormhole to send funds back and forth between different chains. It's already interoperable, and more interoperable than a lot of other chains. So Injective is something I would highly recommend you look at. The coin tokenomics checkout, going to be a lot of inflation in the coin in the up and coming few years. I like the project. What I don't like at this moment in time is the price. And I did say the same thing about Celestia, and Celestia has kept on going. But if we look at the price action, what we've seen here is it's held support for a very decent amount of time. Let me just bring this down here. Let's get it on the screen for you. So it's held support for a decent amount of time before it's broken up, and it's hit this next fib level, which is about $25.50, something like that. Now, what I would like to see, again, with Avalanche, I'd like to see this. Okay? That's what I want to see, because I want to accumulate at $20. I'm not going to buy this coin today. If it goes to $100 tomorrow, I don't care. I'm looking at where I would want to see the price action, where I would get into this token. So I gave you the price for AVAX. This is what I want to do with Injective. If Injective goes to the moon, it doesn't matter, I've missed it. There'll be another coin coming along. There's always more coins. Just because you've missed out on one coin, we've all missed out buying Bitcoin at $10. We've all missed out at Bitcoin at $100. Don't beat yourself up because you've missed a token, because you saw it too late, or the news came out. Like AVAX, for example. Buying AVAX at $5, $6, $7 was a great time to buy. But it doesn't mean you're not going to catch the next one or the next one. So if we miss this one, who cares? There's going to be more coming along. But like I say, if we see a retracement, I'd like to see a retracement back to $20, and then I might get some Injective. It will be a short-term hold. Remember, I don't buy every token that I see, don't buy every token that I like, but get the ones which potentially have some short-term action. On the dip yesterday, I bought some Celestia, which I've been telling people to sell since $7 or $8, but it ignored the price action of the markets. So I bought some at $11, I think it was, maybe $10.80, something like that, maybe $10. No, I think I bought it at $10.30 yesterday. I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to sell it. But I bought it for the short-term gain. Not advising you to go and copy me. I'm just telling you I did, because it's already up 15% since I bought it. It's just an example of a coin. The same with Injective. If Injective comes down here, I'm going to buy here. And then if the price moves up to here, I'm selling it. I'm not holding it. It's not in the same bracket as Bitcoin or Ethereum or my AI tokens like Fetch and Ajax, which I am going to hold through the bull run. This is just a short-term play. But if it's too late and we do see it going up here, I won't bat an eyelid at it. Now, we're going to move on to look very quickly at El Salvador. They are going to launch their bond in Q1 2024. They have a lot of thermal energy. They're going to use that to produce Bitcoin. You will be able to buy a bond that gives you a yield on those mining operations. You're paying for their mining operations to be set up, but the energy that comes out of it is free. As you can see here, there's a 10-year duration, annual return of 6.5%. So it's a good, solid, stable bond. The only thing I would say is that We don't know how long the miners are going to last because you've got to replace them. We don't know anything about that. I just know that they're going to launch this bond. It was going to be launched last year. It's going to be launched at the beginning of next year. Just so you all know, these things are timed to sit with the market. Had it launched in the middle of last year, it would have fallen flat on its face because Bitcoin was at $15,000. It's going to launch in between the ETFs being approved and the halving. So what do you think is going to happen to this bond? It's going to make a killing. So it's, and I'm happy for El Salvador. They were absolutely slated by the IMF, wrongly slated by the IMF, for putting some of their wealth into Bitcoin. As you can see, we've covered them on the channel before. They are making an absolute killing now. I think they're up $2.5 billion on their Bitcoin investment. So fair play to the president. He's a young man. He's got rid of all of the bad aspects of El Salvador. They've got their visa, which came out last week or the week before, which is an crypto investment visa, where you get a visa to live there if you put $1 million into the economy, or you buy $1 million worth of assets, whatever it is. So he's moving the country in the right direction. He's taking it into the next century, or the middle of this century at least, with a different outlook compared to where they were. Finally then, China plans to verify identities of its 1.4 billion residents through blockchain-based platform. So the announcement came from blockchain-based service network BSN, China's national-level blockchain initiative, according to a report from an insider. The initiative, named Real DID, was spearheaded by the Ministry of Public Security in collaboration with BSN. The approach ensures that personal information remains disconnected from business data and transactions. In October, China state media reported that the country's top 6 social media platforms would require content creators with over 500,000 to 1 million followers to publicly display their real names or the names of their financial backers. I actually completely agree with that. Completely agree. I think if you are going to come on here and give your opinion about anything, you should reflect who you are. So that's why I have my terrible picture as my profile picture, because I don't want to be an NFT. I don't want to be seen as a picture of a frog or anything like that. I want you to see who I am, because I do agree there are a lot of people that hide behind avatars, give out information. It all goes wrong. They delete their X account or they delete their Facebook account or whatever, and that you don't know who they are. They've gone. So I agree with that totally. So BSN China, operated by the National Information Center. So anyway, we don't need to read any more of that. They're moving all of the data onto a platform. Now, again, lots of things like this are a double-edged sword. Do I agree that we should have somewhere to verify who people are? Absolutely, 100%. I think that passports, visas, ID cards are going to become a thing of the past. They're a piece of plastic or a piece of paper that can easily be forged. If you have something like this, which is a blockchain-based system where it can easily recognize you without any other form of ID, that's not a bad thing. Where there's a problem is where that information gets misused, and that's what needs to be checked and double-checked and triple-checked. The same with central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency is an amazing idea until it goes wrong. Because let's say there's a national power outage. How do you pay for things? You can't. So moving away from paper money and coins to a digital money will get rid of fraud. It will get rid of a lot of problems, but it will create its own problems. Moving away from paper and plastic forms of ID to blockchain-based ID is the right way to go, as long as there are safeguards put in place to not allow for its misuse. That's the problem that lots of other people have, and I'm not as extreme to believe that all of this is necessarily going to be used for bad. Some of it is going to be used for good. Now, what we are going to do now is we are going to move on to the quiz, because we've done it on time today, 11:50. I'm happy. I am happy with today's timing of the show. I even had a small interlude to go and get myself a coffee. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say goodbye to one of our streams, and when we come back, we're going to do a quiz for about 10 or 15 minutes. So hang fire while we say goodbye. Remember, if you're new here, smash the like button, make sure you follow us, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. If you're watching on a stream, please remember to hold on for 2 minutes. We will be right back.